Comic Journey, CJ, is involved in a project that's going to be launched on Kickstarter. And it's called the Shift Project. And it's a really cool concept. There is a script that was given to 4 artists. CJ is one of them. And they each are going to interpret the script in their own way. Sounds pretty interesting to me. So it's going to be, this is the bootleg version here at Comic-Con. So take a look, be on the lookout for it. It's called The Shift. All right. And I think it's be kind of cool to help support him on that. Hey, this is Joe, Anachronic Comics. How are you? I was just talking to CJ and he just dropped out. So we're waiting for him to sign back in. Anyway, we're here tonight and we're going to talk to him about his Kickstarter, The Shift. And I was, as you could see from the introductory video, I was fortunate enough to get a glance into it at the New York Comic-Con when I saw him there. He was peddling these things for free, giving them out. And I think it was a pretty successful attempt at marketing, like New York marketing there, because I think he got a really, really good response from it. You know, and as you can see from what I discussed, it's kind of a unique type of approach that I'm hoping if he comes back on, we'll be able to get to speak to him about for a bit. But while I'm waiting for him, let's take a look and see who's joined us so far today. I know a lot of people had stuff going on tonight. So we start off with Lex Cruces. Good morning. So he was on this morning signing in. It's hard. It's tough to beat you. You know, it's tough to beat you, James. You know, you're in there all the time. Yeah, Paul. He comes in really early, and it's really tough to beat him. All right, and there he is. He's back. Hey, you're back.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't kick you out. I just took you off the screen there for a minute. Anyway,
well, we were having a nice conversation. I thought you liked me, and then you just threw me out of this.
You see that my true colors have come out. I'm sorry. You know, sometimes you can avoid showing your true self. You know, I'm just going quickly over the people that are here. Gary is going to see us a little bit later on. Let's see who else. Kenneth Barrett's here as well. Right. Hopefully, some more people will join us. So, CJ, thank you for coming on my channel. I think we discussed this is your first time on this august YouTube channel, Anachronic Comics. You got to feel really good about that, I would say. What do you think?
Isn't that odd? Isn't it odd that I know we've been on panels multiple times together over the years?
A few, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. How is it possible that I have never been on this channel?
Well, see, now it shows that the ill feeling is reciprocal. But practically speaking, I've gone on a couple of your nighttime shows there, but normally just for a few minutes because I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I'm not going to stay up all night and watch that stuff, that discussion there. But anyway, so I'm really happy that you're on, and I did want to talk to you about the shift, right? And exactly a couple of different things about it. I'd like to talk about how the idea came about. Maybe a little bit more about your involvement and how you went ahead and got involved in this and how it worked. And of course, we'll go through the Kickstarter for people that watch this either live or on replay, so they can know how they can get involved with it and the great stuff that they can get for, I think, reasonable prices. So let's start off by saying, what inspired this project? How did it get started?
Well, it's funny you mentioned our nighttime programming because it basically it got inspired from one of our normal fever dreams when we're up late at night with insomnia.
Right.
And as many people that may have watched some of the stuff that we do on my channel, you know, it's 2, 3 in the morning. We're shooting ideas at each other. Hey, Joe, I got an idea. Wouldn't this be great? Hey, Nick, wouldn't this be great? And basically, you have a lot of those conversations.
Right.
And typically, we end up saying how great they are, and we do nothing with them.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, we just kept building on the idea. You know, I think I was going on a normal rant that I usually go on as far as hating variant covers.
Yeah. But you've got 4 of them here.
Well, there's a reason for that. We'll get into that reason for that.
Okay.
I hate gimmick variant covers. Let's just say that,
Right.
where you have 100 different covers of all different variations of the same cover.
Right.
But that being said, I think I was going on one of my normal rants about that, and then I think Tate says, "Hey, what if a comic had variant interior?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, what if you got the same comic, but it had a different inside?" I'm like, "That wouldn't work." And we just started going back and forth.
Right.
And there was four of us. It was myself, Tate, it was Matt Atkins, and it was also Brandon Ingram, the writer of The Gallows Man.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there and just figuring out, wouldn't this be cool? We started like going back and forth on like choose your own adventures. Remember those old things that people used to do?
Yeah.
And they kind of bloomed into it. About 3-4 hours later, on a live stream, by the way. This brainstorming all happened on a live stream as we're coming out with our insanity.
Right.
We decided to follow up the next day. We actually followed up the next day, and we never looked past after that. We just kept moving forward on it.
Well, that's great. So when did that start? How long ago was that?
That happened in June.
Oh, so that's pretty quick then.
Yeah, and we were all really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got like kind of the kind of motor that like if something is in my head, we got to get it done. We got to get it done. So I'm pushing, Brandon's pushing, everybody's pushing, like to try to get this done. And we're like, we decided to do January. We could have actually launched in December, but we decided not to because of the fact that we were worried about the holidays and causing some kind of problems with the Kickstarter and that. And we said, all right, we'll do the third week of January, give everybody the time to breathe and that kind of thing. If they're interested in backing it, at least, it's not like, hey, Merry Christmas, buy our comic. We don't want to do that. So it worked out.
So in terms of the story and the artwork, let's get into that a little bit. So who did you say was I remember, I think I actually read The Gallows. I think I have a copy of it somewhere because I remember reading it. It was really good. What's the name of the writer again of the script?
Brandon. Yeah, Brandon Ingram.
Ingram, right. Brandon Ingram. So did you have 4 artists, right? 4 different interiors and 4 different covers, obviously, for the same story. That's the deal, right? So
correct.
Did the artists at all get involved in the creative part of the story? Did you brainstorm that with Brandon?
Okay. So I'll give you exactly what the parameters were. I'll give you a little bit more than what we really were talking about because not a lot of people got really in depth of how we worked this out. Brandon wrote a 6-page script, which is pretty much common knowledge right now. At this point, we told everybody about that,
right?
And he set specific parameters. One, you can't change the words. The words have to go on the pages as he's writing them. So we can't omit stuff and we can't add stuff as far as words are concerned. So that was one major parameter. He put certain panel counts per page for us of how to work it out. Again, no direction as far as narrative, mood, tone, overall feel, none of that.
Okay.
Do whatever you want. I want about this many panels on page. He actually put specific numbers of panels on there, which a lot of us ignored, and we just did whatever we wanted anyway.
But you can also manage the panels any way you want, right? In terms of size or placement.
Yeah, there was no limitation on panels, the size and stuff like that. But he did have a certain panel counts, which we all did our variations of that. It worked out at the end.
Okay.
Artists, we got to be creative with our panels. So he went there, he told us that, and then the only thing that he wanted to be uniform across the board, the one specific character that was in his thing, he didn't tell us gender, he didn't tell us whether it is human, female, male, none of that.
Okay.
He basically just said, I want to get this feel with this character. He told us a very specific feel he wanted the character. Oh, that's it. He basically said to us he wanted to get some kind of kinetic thing going on with the character, like some kind of energy thing going on. a distortion or something along those lines. So
Okay.
that was it. Those are the parameters we got. So
Okay.
as you can
Yeah.
tell, that's kind of hard to draw when you have like not even a mood. Like, is it in a desert? Is it in on the moon?
None of that. Yeah. No
Nothing.
direction. Okay, that's it. So, and again, this is all Brandon stuff. So, was there, without giving away the story, is there a specific, because I think artwork, at least the way that I see it, artwork really depends in some ways on some of the things that you said you didn't have. In other words, putting the words into art and into comic book art. Um, was there a particular, other than this one character that you mentioned, was there a particular theme or something that he told you? Like, in other words, the point of the story or what I want to get across is this. So keep that in mind when you do your drawings. Or was it, here's what it is, here's the parameters I'm giving you, is this one character that I want this to come across, and that's it?
No, he actually gave us zero guidance as far as that. He said, you know, you want it in a fairyland world, go ahead, do that. You want a hellish dystopia, do it like that.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Do you want it in a cartoon form? You want it in uh, art, life art style? Any way you want to go and do it. Like there was nothing. So basically, opened up the possibilities to be able to draw it out in a limitless format for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
which is challenging from the art point of view because you get no direction, but it's actually really freeing
Mm.
because
Yeah,
you have
so
no
good.
parameters. You're reading the words and deciding to dictate what those words look like in your mind and trying to put them on paper. And he did like a little caption for us after he saw all the artwork coming from us. I'll read it to you what he had wrote. He wrote, "Across dimensions, nameless heroes are connected in their own hellish dystopia, feared to never escape the hell they've awakened. All seems vague and hopeless until a being known only as the figure appears to each of these heroes and becomes the guide across their own dimension." So we didn't even have that.
That's
We didn't even
interesting.
have that.
Yeah.
He added that after. I guess he kept it in his pocket, not to like kind of motivate us to draw it in a certain way. You know, the like if everybody knew it was going to be a hellish dystopia, they would have drawn it out as hellish dystopia.
Right, right. Yeah.
But what is your definition of a hellish dystopia? You could be in Candyland, and that could be hellish dystopia to you if you're a diabetic. You know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I want to get into like your process. That's why I wanted, when you said you can have the other artists on, I just wanted to have you on because I wanted to get into your kind of into your mind as you went through this. But you just said something that really interested me, and I'm wondering about this. So is it that I don't know. I don't want to get into like DC and Marvel type of stuff, but is it that basically you've got the same type of thing happening in four different, I don't know, dimensions to people there, so that at some point in time, because this particular individual appears in each one of these dimensions to these people, but it's the same person, because Brandon had said this is what this person should be. Is there a possibility that somehow this is going to coalesce into one story or something else going forward?
I mean, it looks like that might be the way everything is going at this point
Yeah. Yeah.
because he didn't tell us that from the get go. But it looks like that's what after writing that caption, it
Yeah.
gave us all like, "Hey, look at you! What you did!
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
used us. You
That's
used us to create a whole new dimension for you."
That's what popped into my mind. I said, wow, this sounds interesting. So he's setting this thing up, I think. That's very good, though, incidentally. But he's kind of setting this thing up. So as the story goes along, he sees what you guys have done. And maybe the next script or something like that will be a little bit different, and maybe your approach, I know you don't know the answer to this question, but maybe the approach will be a little bit different as well in terms of the next comic book as it goes along.
Well, our approach would definitely be a little different.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think I'll ever do another version of my segment of this type of book in the
Uh,
same format that I did this one, as far as the type of medium and materials I used, because I went with inks and acrylics, paint, and I went with like a very wet and loose type of format when I was drawing it, which gives a nice effect. I like the effect that it was giving. I gave it like a very grunge, but very underground comic look to it, maybe a
yeah,
la the Rubber Crumb, something along
yeah,
those lines.
yeah,
Um, but the process took me forever between wet layers of waiting for things to dry and then go on with the next layer and the next layer. So as far as the approach, I probably, unless I'm doing a one shot of a comic in the future, or I'm doing a solo series where I could put 4 or 5 issues in the can ahead of time before starting to release them, I'm not going with that approach because it's time consuming.
okay. So let's step back and let's take a look at your approach there in terms of it. So you get this script, right? And you look at the script and you read it. Does the do the characters, do the what they're going to kind of look like, maybe even the materials you're going to be using, does all that stuff start to coalesce in your head, or is the way you looked at it and the way you do things, does it take you a little bit of time? Do you experiment first and say that's no good, I can't use Crayola crayons, I'm going to use something else? Tell us a little bit about how you got to, not necessarily to the end thing, but how you started and got working on the
Okay.
story.
So it took me a few days of rounds of one figuring what style I wanted to take with the pages.
Right.
That was important to me. How did I want my pages to look? Well, how did I want to lay out the panels? Did I want them interconnecting? Did I want them very traditional, even type of panel kind of format?
Mhm.
Because that dictates a lot of what type of art style you're going to take. Because you have a different type of dynamic when you're going one style to the other. So that was one thing. The other thing is, what is the overall look I could, because I have a good range of how I could draw. I could go very underground like the way I just did on this one. I could go
Mhm.
more realistic. I could go more cartoony as well. So for me, it was like, what's the tone I want to give it? What's the feel? When people are reading my section of the thing, what do I want them to feel? And I
Right.
want them to feel I want them to feel a darker tone. For some reason, that was speaking to me in a darker tone. Plus,
Mhm.
when I was doing it, I was a little bit in like a more darker psychology at the time.
And that's important, right? I mean, whether you're writing or whether you're drawing, your own kind of what's going on in your life and your mind at that point really will affect your output.
Absolutely. I mean, I was like, this year's been a rough year. I was going through a lot of stuff with family, hospitals, etc., etc. So I was like in a very um, grim type of mindset at
Mhm.
that point, and that really reflected into my art. So you saw a lot of darker stuff happening in my stuff, more monsters,
Mhm.
more viral kind of actions happening. So I think it worked out well because my style really was different from the other three styles, and that was a
And
very important thing
we'll
for
look at
all of
all of
us.
them in a few minutes. Go ahead, but go ahead. Sorry.
And that was a really important thing for us. That was the one thing I was worried about more than anything else. I didn't want any of us to draw something that felt like it was the same.
Mm.
I really wanted everybody's tone and look to feel like it's coming from a different artist's perspective. That
Yeah,
was really, really important, and it happened so
yeah,
organically.
you're just successful in that. You're absolutely right. Let me backtrack for a second. So, outside of this, I mean, is drawing something that you do, as a relaxation point? I mean, what other kind of drawing do you do? Do you do it, every week, every day? I mean, was it something that is kind of part of your, day to day, life, that, drawing stuff?
All right, let me give you a little bit of a background of me with drawing. When I finished school, I actually went to NYT and I graduated in graphic design and computer graphics.
Oh, cool.
My intention, and all its like exciting glory,
Yeah.
was to work in package design.
Okay.
I wanted to create toy packages. That's what I wanted to do.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
what I originally wanted to do was I wanted to become a makeup artist on practical effects, like Tom Savini or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But my parents said, "Get the hell out of here. We're not going to send you to school over there and pay for you to
Parents are
do
tough.
Mickey Mouse stuff. Go to real college." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'll go to real college." So I guess the closest thing to what I like to do was computer graphics and graphic design. So that's where I went. Unfortunately, I graduated about 5 months after the Twin Towers got knocked down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had 9/11, and I graduated the following January. At that time, as a New Yorker, and I think you were still in New York at the time,
Oh, I still am. That
you
I mean,
you kind of knew where everything was going with the
yeah,
jobs at that point. I
yeah.
was
I
better
mean,
off working at McDonald's as a cashier than working in a printer place because they were all moving out of the city, and at the same time, the few that stayed were literally paying like $10 an hour,
yeah,
for
yeah,
like freelance graphic designers, and I was like, I need to make money.
yeah. It was a
Uh,
tough time. Tough time.
so I went back with my father at that point for a little while, worked with him at his pastry shop. And I got a little bit artistic over there, making
Right.
cake designs and all that stuff. And I was doing all the menus and all the graphic logos and all that stuff there. I was trying to keep my craft going. I did some freelance work for people as far as um, uh, doing their logos for them and putting some stuff together. I also did some like stuff for the school that I went to, that I graduated from. It was a Greek Orthodox school, and they did a lot of like patriotic stuff, like
Sure.
warriors and stuff like that. They wanted like posters to be done and that kind of stuff. So I was doing that stuff. So I was keeping
Yeah.
myself busy.
Yeah.
I was doing some canvas work with paint, and I was selling
Mhm.
that on the side as well. And then, one thing came to the other. I ended up changing careers, getting busier, got married, had my first kid, and all my pens and brushes and inks all went
Mhm.
into the drawer and
Mm.
stayed there for many years.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I think about like 5, 6 years ago, my kids ran into a couple of boxes of my stuff. And my daughter, who's very talented in her own right, as far as in our artistic perspective, I wish I was as talented as she is at her age, 15. And she kind of pushed me. It's like, why did you draw? She saw some comics that I had
Yeah.
that were half drawn and like concept art. I did storyboards and that kind of stuff. It's like,
Right.
why didn't you ever finish this? And I'm like, you and
Yeah.
your brother and your sister. That's kind of why.
Yep. Yep.
So they kind
Right.
of nudged me. I started getting back into it. And ever since then, I had like a little bit of fire. Like, let me continue, and let me at least finish something I started. So the point was, I'm gonna make sure I make a comic.
Yeah.
And as that process went on, I started to think a little bit differently. This whole shift project is not only a passion project for myself as far as putting it out there, but it's also a project that I think might be able to open up opportunities or
Yeah.
possibilities for other creators and writers down the line.
I'm so glad that you're doing this too, because I mean, I could tell you my own story about parents saying you can't do something, but I can never forget this. I wanted to write. I wanted to write like a novel or short stories and things like that. And used to keep a journal, write all this stuff together when I was like in high school. And I remember telling my uncle Tito this, and he goes telling my parents, he goes, "You're not going to let him do that, are you?" And I'm saying, "What's going on here?" They said, "All these, writers all starve to death."
Well, that's what I was told. Like, oh, artists. Oh, you got the start. You got the starving treatment.
So that was it. But but I
Yeah,
have written some stuff. I've drawn some
your
stuff.
background is Italian, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, so you got similar. We got Greek
Not
guilt.
so different.
We got Greek guilt on my end. You got the Italian guilt on your end. That's basically what happens.
Yeah, my poor daughter is dating a Greek guy now. Not because he's Greek, but because I'm saying to myself, it's going to come from both ends.
Oh, forget about the guilt. It's gonna be misery. As long as they're happy together, they'll be good.
But anyway, but okay. So let's go back because I do want to get to the Kickstarter in a minute or two because we don't want to let too much time pass by. But so when you sat down and you figured all this stuff out, this dark stuff and all that, was there any specific challenges that you had as you started to put, let's say, I'll say pencil to paper, if that's the way you started? Was there some challenges that came up either in the creative process or even just in the physical process? You mentioned that you had to wait for stuff to dry, whatever else, but what was the major challenge that hit you as you were putting this together?
Okay, so one challenge that is kind of an intangible challenge and kind of a mental block that I think that not only myself but some of the other artists that were involved had was one. I wonder what they're doing.
Ah, yeah,
So you're sitting there wondering
yeah.
what what's up their sleeve,
Go
and then
ahead. I
you
never
start
thought of
getting
that.
competitive. The competitive nature starts going. I want to think of something cooler than them. I want
Yeah,
to, yeah, I could only speak for myself, but I could tell you the overall feel between us, like the camaraderie that we had, is like, oh, look what I got. Look at it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it was like,
Some
and then
competition, right? It's like a
it
competition. Yeah.
kind of, but at the same time, it's more of like who's going to get wilder with their ideas, so who's going to
Yeah.
come up with something more unique and that kind of thing. And I think we all like were pleasantly surprised by the overall ending with everything. And then when we were done with the pages, then we all had to do the covers each. And that got even wilder as far as what are you going to do with the cover now? Like
I want you to explain your cover once we get to it in a couple of minutes. But
a lot of
anyway,
people want the
yeah,
explanation of that one.
yeah. Two more questions, then we'll go to the Kickstarter. And if I forgot if I didn't put it in, if I didn't put the link in the information below, I will do it right after this is over. I can't remember if I did or not. But just two more questions. One, um, let's see. Well, let me see which ones I have so many here. Did you have a character or a scene in the book that you could look at now and say, this is my favorite?
Yeah, yeah. There's a specific region right on the uh, story part of the Kickstarter where you go into the
Yeah.
explanation where we have the 4 pages that are lined up.
Yeah.
We specifically picked out page 3 from the story, so like you could kind of see the differences between the same page. The page that I submitted is probably my favorite page that I did. It's
And
just because you see such like visceral type of fighting happening over there, and like a little bit of body torture and a little bit of like it feels like it's a tough fight that's happening right there.
okay.
And just the expression I put on some of the character faces over there, I think worked out well for me. It gave exactly what I was trying to put out.
Okay. And before we look at all this stuff, I don't know if you can divulge this, but is there a particular character in the story that you ended up having an affinity towards?
Yeah, yeah. The one character the monster character that you see that's all like angry and everything in
Yeah.
there. That's my character, and that's not even the main character. That's the funny thing.
Okay. Was that because of your kind of feeling at the time that you mentioned, that dark feeling?
It's that, and I like drawing monsters. I've
Okay.
always liked her. I always like drawing creatures, monsters, sci-fi. Um, I my favorite thing in the world is universal monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that goes really back to like what I enjoy drawing more than anything else. I mean,
Okay.
the dark part of it is one thing, but the actual drawing of those type of characters, I do that all the time anyway.
Okay, great. Remind me not to tell you to draw a portrait of myself. I'm sure I'll come across as a
I could, yeah,
monster there.
listen, I could draw you with like your glasses a little bit shattered,
Yeah, yeah,
eyeball
yeah, yeah,
coming
yeah.
out, and
Yeah, okay.
we'll do the
Okay.
Halloween version.
Halloween version. All right, let's bring it up. Let's talk about the Kickstarter, which is successful already, right? It's already successful.
Very proud of that.
Yeah, I mean that's fantastic. A $1,500 goal, and you already have 2466. Some extras probably coming our way. We'll talk about that
Yep.
in a little bit. But you see here, a story in words formed from 4 artists taking one writer's script and each building their own vision from it. This is the shift, which is, I mean, what a great concept that you guys decided to do at 3 a.m. in the morning. So uh, I mean, we can go through this a little bit. So the story, it's a concept, right? I mean, obviously the purpose is to publish this thing. Let's quickly look at, these are the covers, right? And you see Ingram,
Correct.
Sakalis, Atkins, Wania, and Frazier.
Wunia
So
and Fraser.
yes, this is Frazier. So
Yep.
is it
Yeah,
fair to
I
say
know.
that? Go
You're
ahead.
gonna get a color version of that coming out. It's gonna show up. This was the preliminary. If you know what, let me see if I could drop this down right now. If I could do this while we're on together, I'll give you the sneak peek. Nobody's seen that. That's going to be changed after our interview on the Kickstarter. So I'll give
Okay.
you the sneak peek while you're going through the rest of it.
Okay. So is it fair to say that Frazier's was the more traditional approach to it? The story?
Traditional, or maybe you maybe use the word conventional
Conventional.
approach as
Better
far as
word.
what you would expect in modern day comics.
Yeah, that's a better word. Right.
That's kind of what you're looking at right now when you're looking at a modern comic and that kind of thing. That's kind of digital style art and stuff that I think people's eyes are more trained to be able to enjoy.
Right. So Marcus is saying I think you were just saying the cover, right? The book inside is going to be black and white, correct?
No, the book inside is going to be black and white.
Okay. All right. So that's one. Now this one is very strange. Here, Tate's cover. It looks almost like one of those
My
TV.
favorite.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is my favorite. That is my favorite, by the way.
Uh-huh.
That is hitting back to some of the vibes when I used to visit the MoMA and the Whitney.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Very strange. I mean, I don't know what this is here. I mean, but you're right. It is like going to MoMA and seeing some of those kind of more modernistic type of.
I immediately got those vibes.
Yeah, I hear you. Here it is. Here it is. Nick's cover.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you, Nick, I've looked at this so much here, trying to see. There's got to be something hidden here, and I'm looking and looking, and I have to say I can't find it. So.
Okay, so remember I mentioned to you there was only one parameter that was given to us as far as any character design that was in the book.
Right.
And that's of a character that had a sense of being like distorted, shattered, that kind of a thing. There is one sequence inside the book that once you see that sequence, you'll understand immediately why I made that cover the way it is.
Okay.
And I do have the original pencil sketch that I did of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I might just throw that in. Like I'm just waiting to see where the sponsorships fill out in the book, and if there's a space left over, I might purposely put in the pencil sketch version and that next to each other so people could see. Oh, like now I get it.
Now I
But
get it.
I really had an impression. You ever remember some of those paintings? They were really popular in the 80s, where you had to squint and look and figure out what it made.
And I thought that's what you were doing here.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, but I couldn't find it. I was getting cross-eyed. I said I better wait.
All right.
Anyway, so
think
one?
of your hand.
Yeah.
Just think of your hand, and you'll understand.
Okay, I will. I'll give it another shot later. And so this is Matt's cover,
Yep. I call that the Globe Right edition.
the Globe Right edition.
Remember the Globe Rights where they used to put the little pegs around the black screen and make a
Oh
like a
yeah. Okay,
that's
I see.
that's the immediate vibe I got from that cover.
Okay, got
And
it.
it's very reflective of the type of art that he does on the inside.
Yeah, it could be color. Yeah, that's what you said, right? Snow in the headlights. You know, Brad lives in the Canadian Northwest, and you know he's getting us our oil, so that's okay. All right, so here's the preview part. Let's take a look at this, then we'll go through the support stuff. So preview art. So this is page 3, right?
Yep, that's page 3. That's Ben's page. And as you can
Right.
tell, his artwork is very, very streamlined, very you could see that in any Marvel and DC book as far as
Yeah.
the style fitting well in there. And he has done a lot of work for them as well. So you could see that really shining through his artwork.
Very good.
And probably one of the fastest workers I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, okay. And whose is this?
That right there is Matt's.
Oh, that's Matt's.
What you saw the Globe Right edition. That's
Yeah.
the inside of his.
Yeah, that's the inside. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Their system is weak. You are all strong. Escape is possible. And there's the same thing, right? Their system is weak. You are all strong. Escape is possible.
You see what we did there?
Yep.
I think mine is the only one that doesn't have the final letters on there, and that was like because of a Kickstarter glitch that we had in there. But
well, it's certainly interesting here.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like I love the way his face looks when he's getting hit in the head with that padlock.
Yeah,
like it makes me giggle whenever I see him like that.
That's cool.
It gives you that old school. Oh my God, these guys are beating the crap out of each other, kind of a thing going on.
Yeah, like the chain in the mouth there, the punch there. Yeah, he's pulling on his mouth.
A little S&M thing going on with the chain in the mouth.
Yes. Oh, who's here? Sicko. Hey,
Yep.
Welcome. Very nice. Can't wait to read it. And Tate.
That's Tate's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can see that's like almost like a ripped out of like Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So that's what I'm really proud of. The fact that we took such a different direction with all the artwork, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, they're really different. They're very different. So it's going to be kind of cool. Well, let's take a look. So you've made your goal already, right? So people can make a pledge if they want to help out, $1 because they like you. And here's you can get a digital copy of only $5. That's not bad.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Not bad.
Biggest reason we put the digital copy in there and wanted to make it available, it could get really costly for a lot of the international people. We didn't want to limit it. One of the things that is a pet peeve of mine is when you see a lot of the Kickstarters and they're limited to only one country like US. Yeah, that is your biggest market, but there's a lot of people in the UK or Canada and other places that want to be able to purchase it. But it also gets really, really expensive. You don't want to pay $50 for one comic, so we want to put that digital thing to give everybody the opportunity to be able to purchase that and get a copy of it. And it's included on every single physical package as well.
Fantastic. So you got this blank for $10. Read the first issue of The Shift with the book right in your hands. Maybe be inspired to create your own vision of the story on a blank cover. Now, this is not the one where you can hand it in. This is just if you want to do something on your own, right?
Yeah, that's basically your standard version of a blank cover for a book. Figured we have to have a blank cover of the book, not only because of the concept that we're working on, that it's like a very creator friendly type of project, but we want to have some blank covers for ourselves later on if we possibly do some shows and stuff like that to be able to do them.
Yeah. Okay, so here's Ben. So you can buy Ben Fraser. So it's $10. So you can buy Ben Fraser's cover. All right.
Did you want me to show you what the color version of that is going to be now? The final
Yeah,
version?
let me make you big. Let me get this off and make you big so we can see it. All right.
Actually, I have it on the shared screen. I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, yes, I do. Okay, let me bring this back up then. There it is. Oh, wow, very cool.
Very cool, right?
Yes, I like it. Wow. Now, who did
Very
so?
different. It just changed the complete tone of the book for
It
me
sure
by
does.
adding
Now,
that
did
color.
Ben? Does everybody do their own color cover? Did Ben do this? Or yeah, did Fraser do this?
Ben
The
did his
coloring?
own colors. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Ben
it's
was
very
also the
nice.
guy that designed the ship logo for us as well.
Mm, that's very nice.
He's been
I think
very
it's
hands up
fantastic.
and very helpful.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so let's take a look here. So now you've got. Yeah, so here's the color cover. So you can get that. All right, and so there's Tate's. Right, there's yours again. Each one is $10. Right,
Hmm.
but you can get all the covers. That's basically $5 off at $35. That's very reasonable, right?
You know, we try to keep everything as cost efficient as humanly possible, for at least for this first issue, to try to make sure that um, we didn't get too crazy with the pricing, but at the same time gave us enough cushion to be able to counter any kind of print counts. Because obviously, the lower the print count, the more expensive per book it's going to be, and there's no way for us to predict what the final print counts are going to be on
Yeah. So
this.
Paul is asking, is it available at a comic shop?
Some comic shops will follow. One of the sponsors on the book, who already sponsored the Kickstarter, was Nirvana Comics down in Tennessee. Uh, Over here in New York, Silver Age Comic has committed to me to carry a few copies after the Kickstarter is over, and there'll be another handful of stores sporadic throughout the place that will get a few copies. That's why we put the retail bundle in there as
Right.
well.
I saw the retail thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 35. And is there separate shipping on this?
On what?
Uh, for the books, it's $35 for the 4 books. Is there a separate shipping charge?
It should show the shipping that's in there for you somewhere on the screen. I think
Okay.
it's determined by location, but it should be saying it in there. The shipping typically for all the books are $8. I think, don't quote me on this, I might be off by $1. I think on that retail on that 4 cover bundle, it might be 14 or $15 total.
All right. We'll see if we get
Or
we catch
12.
to it.
I can't tell you 100% sure as far as that, because we were using the calculator to figure out for everybody's for the shipping on that.
And thanks, Trev has put. Thanks, Trev. Put the link to the Kickstarter
Thank you,
right
Trev.
there. All right. So then this is the one that kind of interests me a little bit. You know, uh, actually the one that comes next, but the Creator Edition bundle. So here's a situation where you get a physical copy of the book that you want and the special edition blank copy. So if you want to draw your own cover and give your own interpretation, I guess, of the story with the character or characters there, you can
Mhm.
do that and you could submit it. All right. So you got a
Well,
couple of people already have committed to that. So tell us a little
mhm.
bit more about that.
Well, the you're getting a normal physical copy. You pick whichever of the covers you want, whichever the 4 standard covers that you get. The book itself is actually blank throughout,
Oh, okay.
so all the pages are blank as well. So if you want to do it traditionally, you could draw it right into that book. It's going to have just the shift title on there, so you could feel like it's official. That's your version of it. But we're also going to provide PDFs of the 11 by 17 pages that we use, the blank pages
Uh-huh.
with shift logo branding on it. So if you want to do it digitally, you have that opportunity to be able to do that. Or if
Excellent.
you want to print them out and do it on physical form, you have the format sheets that we use in order to be able to use for templates in the book.
I see.
Uh, you'll also get the script as we received it, exactly the way we receive it for the book.
Oh, mm,
The Basically, you're gonna get a kit to get you going on what we did. A big advantage that everybody has that we didn't have is you got to see you get to see ahead of time what we all did with it. And you'll probably do better than us because now you have an idea of, hey, I'm going to do better than that. And I hope to see a lot of stuff that are a lot better. So on top of that, we're also giving everybody the opportunity that sends us decides to do the whole package. You don't have to do this if you get this bundle. You do it and just keep it for your own pleasure. Right. But if you wanted to submit it to us, we'll take it and we'll sit and review and dissect all the pages, the artwork, the panel work, everything on our live stream, and really go over, break it down, and give as much helpful advice as we can to kind of like guide the person like what we're liking and not.
Right.
And within certain limitations, and that has to be a question of certain tastes and stuff like that, we'll probably offer, if not all, but the majority of what's submitted to us, a chance to be put in a trade paperback that we'll collect with our own work in the future, and they'll have their stuff published as well.
Very nice. It's great. So you got 2 people so far, but that sounds, if you're an artist or something, and you have the time to do it, I think it'd be a great opportunity.
And there's also one other thing as well that I don't know if a lot of people realize it, because the way we structured this project as a true cooperative type of project between artists, if we take other submissions in as far as putting their stories in a trade paperback, they'll be partaking in revenue sharing as well on whatever comes out in the future. So there's a lot of great benefits that come to this.
So I hope you have contracts and everything.
Oh, we will. And I know
the lawyer's coming at us.
I know a good lawyer that's sometimes in Florida and sometimes in New York that might be able to help.
Well, you know what? It's kind of funny because as I'm looking at all this, I'm starting to think about this and this. I mean, I'll tell you a story offline about something that I did a few years ago, and that was kind of interesting. With one of these people online, I said, "Hey, you better copyright this stuff. You better do this because you're getting to be big, and people are going to start to put your name on things." And sure enough, people started to do that. But thankfully, he took my advice and trademarked, copyrighted, and stuff like that. So he was able to get a cease and desist out to the person. Anyway,
Joe,
sorry.
You want to hear that? You want to hear a funny story?
Go ahead.
You'll appreciate this. I went the most old school approach you could possibly do. As soon as I got things on paper, I literally made copies and I put them in envelopes and I mailed them to myself. Immediately.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm mailing it to myself.
Very good. Very good.
I don't know if people still do that anymore.
I don't know either, because it wasn't my shtick. We had our own copyright and trademark attorneys, but I dealt with them enough times that I kind of had a handle on somehow some of this worked.
I'll tell you something else with the Kickstarter, though. The beauty about having the Kickstarter, though, if anybody gets ideas later on, besides the copyright process and trademark process, then it also gives you additional proof publicly that you have the IP out there.
Yeah. Lawyers, guns, and money. Yeah. We're just looking out for everybody's good health and monetary benefit. Anyway, so the next one is somewhat similar in that you get all 4 physical copies and the bonus blank sketch edition. So that's kind of cool, and that's $43, a little bit more. And here's a project.
It still comes out to $8 per issue that way.
Yeah, that's right. It does. And the original art sketch cover. So here you can do a sketch cover. You can have one of the artists do a sketch cover for you. So I guess you could tell them like kind of what you want and stuff like that. And one of you guys will do the sketch cover, right?
Well, this is what we're offering with that one. You get to choose the artist whoever you would want to do it. The only caveat that we have is we didn't want to go too crazy as far as the commissions and the asks on what they wanted us to do on the covers. In other words, you might have somebody that said, "I want Godzilla on there. I want Mario." We don't want to do that. What we're going to be what we're offering through this is actually something that is tying to the book itself that we'll be drawing on ourselves. Some of them will be like, I'm going to be purposely doing certain character designs that didn't use in the book that were initial concept designs. In other words, there's a couple characters that I was designing in the beginning that were actually female and not male, and I decided to switch gears later on. So you might get a variant thing that's going to be in a future issue down the line on that sketch cover. So and we wanted to keep it tied in as possible for a few reasons. One, we want it all to be like within theme. And then the other thing is we wanted to be able to expedite them and put them out as possible. So if we're getting very customized type of requests, it would hold up the process for us to be able to fill everybody's shipments out. So we don't want to have a situation where we get so many commissions that we can't, and they're so complex that it's going to take us a year to fulfill them. We don't want to have that.
Okay, then you got the retailer bundle, right? You got 20 copies, 5 each of the 4 artists for $100. That's not a bad price.
Right? It's pretty good. And if you're a local guy, I'll save you. If you're a New Yorker, I'll save you the shipping and I'll drop it off at your place myself.
Right, could do that. Right, and you have a sponsored tier, $100. You could promote yourself or just show their love for independent creators. So you got a print advertisement, it says, and you're going to be mentioned, as well. Okay.
Correct. So everybody that's a sponsor is going to be printed in the book. And then I'm actually taking everybody's logos, creating a PowerPoint that I'll make in video format. I'll be playing that during our streams and on our social media as well. And I'll be giving them our love and thanks for supporting our project throughout the year.
All right, you have 5 backers for that.
Yeah,
you already have. That's great. And the back cover, one person can do a back cover for $400. So that's cool. Now, the early bird is gone.
Yeah.
So that's it. All right. So you did have like some extras or something, right? Was it here? Yeah. Stretch goal 2000, which was unlocked. You get the bookmark.
Correct.
Okay.
We blew that through almost immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a chance to tell that to people before we blew it. I made that a surprise to everybody that already backed it.
So now you are just a few dollars away from 2,500, and then I'm sure you're the one who insisted on this, right? The project.
Yeah, it was. I got outvoted on this, unfortunately. when you got 5 people involved and you're the only one resisting, it's a problem.
So Paul is asking if we could meet up, if you like, at King Kong in late March in New Jersey. So you might have some, be able to help you with some stuff there. That's Paul. He lives in New Jersey.
Is he going to have a booth over there?
Oh, I don't know if he is or not, but I mean, you both are on Instagram, so you can contact each other.
Yeah, I'll send me a DM and we'll be in touch, Paul.
Okay, stretch 3 is 3,500. Do you get trading card on that? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the thing that's cool about that is basically we're printing out a 4-card set of all the covers. It's going to have a cool back custom design. Every single person that has backed will physically get a random copy of one of the cards. And then for the people that are like real completionists and they're like, I don't like this one, I want all of them. They'll have the opportunity to get it for like $4 or $5. We're gonna put it there for like cost, and that's it.
Yeah, great. And at $5,000, you can get the ash can, which I showed in the introduction. I have mine. It's in New York. I'm down in Florida, so I can't show it to you right now. But you saw it there. It's on the YouTube banner thing or whatever else too in the beginning too, so you could see it there.
I'll make a point though of saying that ash can that you have in your hands, is different than the one that's going to be available through the.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same thing. We want to make point of not reprinting any material of any kind that is identical to it. We want everything to look completely different.
I forgot. Did you sign mine or not when we were out there?
If you asked me to, I probably
I
did.
don't remember. I have to find out when I get back home and see if it's
Hey,
there.
take a look at the back page. I might have even put a sketch in there for you.
I don't remember. I'd have to look and see. Maybe.
There was a section that, like, I like to do things a little bit different. Clearly I'm wired a little bit differently than average person.
Mhm.
So I wanted to do some things a little different. On the back page of those ash cans, I left a blank page and I wrote on here, blank page, just in case you don't realize it's a blank page. And then I wrote, ask somebody to draw something on there for you.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I randomly did some sketches in them that I was handing out. I don't know who got one or who didn't. Some people specifically, when I were at the show, asked me to do it on the spot, and I did that. So probably you got one that has a sketch in there.
That's okay. We'll see. We'll find out.
More
See,
than likely, you did.
the problem was that we were standing against a chain link fence outside of the Javits Center, clear across there. And CJ's lighting up a cigarette. And right behind them, it said no smoking. So we had to kind of watch for the cops and the other people coming in here, to make sure they didn't throw us out.
Did it say no smoking over there?
It said it right behind your head. It was like funny. I'm sitting
That
there
works
like
out well.
laughing. I'm saying, look at this guy.
That sounds about right.
All right, you got a few more 7,500 concept original art sketch cards. Mystery stretch goal for 10. If you reach 10,000, there's a mystery goal.
Yep, we got actually multiple mystery goals that are in.
Well, God, God bless you if you
and
get 10, 15, or 20,000. That would be fantastic. That would be
fantastic. Listen, if we get to those numbers and we keep going up, there's going to be more things that are going on there. The one thing I will assure everybody that once we get to those mystery goal things, first of all, you'll get an announcement of what that mystery goal will be as soon as the previous one gets unlocked.
Right.
But all the ones that are in that tier and above will all be physical, and they'll all be guaranteed to everybody at no extra charge. So everybody's going to be getting like stuff given to them for free at that point, as a thank you for everything.
Good. You're already at 2466 with 19 days to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you're going to make the 2,500 for sure. There you go. You just made it. We have it live.
People just want to see me suffer with the stickers. That's the problem. They want
the stickers. I was just going to say that.
All right, sticker mule. I gotta get stickers now.
I love it. All right. Well, good luck to you in that. I got a few more questions before we finish up. Okay.
Anything you want.
Okay with you. All right. So, let's see, guys. Well, I already went through some. Well, let's see. You answered a bunch of these questions already. All right. Yeah. One question about this. When you guys were putting this together, did you think as far, because I know the creators do this, did you think far enough ahead to say the people that will like this, the target audience for this is this type of person? Did you go that route at all? Or did you talk about that at all?
Okay. So we didn't have well, let me rewind. First of all, thank you, Damien. He was the one that got us over 2,500.
Fantastic.
As far as the target audience, we have a few target audiences. I know it doesn't sound right, but it does. Because first of all, we want to target the audience that is into more of fantasy type of reading level, and they like indie style books, underground type of stuff. That's the number one target that we have as far as the storyline and everything that we're doing as far as the creative concept going forward. Right. But there's a secondary target that we're going for as well. We're going for the creative level, where we're looking to target other writers, other artists, and people that can appreciate a different way of thinking when putting their illustrations together. Mm-hmm. So those are the two different directions we were simultaneously hitting.
Okay.
And it was really, for me, that's why the creative bundle for me is my favorite bundle out of everything, because I really want to see people have an opportunity to be able to show their stuff. One of the things I've noticed, especially now you got no more diamonds going bankrupt, right? We don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But what I do know for a fact is you have multiple small publishers that are not going to have a distribution place to go, which also means that a lot of the writers and a lot of the artists that would normally get their opportunity through those small books are never going to get that opportunity to be seen. Mm-hmm. And then you have a lot of people that are extremely talented. Yeah, I know you know a lot of them that they do such great artwork. They can write so well, but they're kind of introverts, or they're kind of shy, or they're kind of nervous of putting themselves out there. This is a way to be able to get your stuff in another book published in a less hostile environment.
Right.
Now, what happens with the public opinion? That's a different story. Now, it's up. We're giving you the platform. We're putting it out there for you to be seen. Now, if people love it, that's what we would hope for. If they hate it, then again, you took your shot. At least you took your shot. That's the way I look at it. So, those are the two target audiences that we specifically want to, and I'm more towards creating that new opportunity for a lot of creators out there.
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious based on how you're putting the sales together that's a constituency that you're looking for. Well, I got a bunch of, but let me give you one more question on this. I was going to get a little bit more into some of the approach that you took with some of the stuff, but I think you've basically gone through a lot of it. So when I get the book and I read through it, what are you hoping? Let's talk about your artwork, because the artwork is very important to the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have me drawing, the Fantastic Four, and you have Kirby drawing it, people are going to take something different away from it. So let's take a tone. I'm sorry, what was that?
Completely different tone.
Yes, completely. So looking at your book, and the story that's in there, what do you either hope or think that people will take away from this? I finished the book, I put it down. What am I getting? What am I thinking about?
Okay. If you're reading my version of it,
yep.
The impression I'm hoping that people have and walk away after looking at is fever dream.
Fever dream. Okay.
Basically, seeing all these things coming together and not really quite understanding why it's happening, because everything is left at a cliffhanger at the end, because that's the introduction to the first issue that's going to happen of the transmission. That's the name of the storyline. And why is this happening? Who is this guy? There's clearly something really wrong happening right now. Well, without saying too much, I'm basically that's the feel I want everybody to have when they're reading it. And I absolutely promise you, you're not going to get the same feeling when you're reading everybody else's renditions as well. You're going to get different feelings of completely different feelings when you're reading their versions. Okay. And that's going to be the fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're comparing page to page, you say, what the hell was he thinking? What was he thinking?
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my last question, but I got one more question now that came up based on what you said. And maybe you don't want to answer this question, or maybe there is no answer to this question, but you've got 4 different artists with the same story, and just told me that what people are going to feel or take out of this will likely be different because of that. Mm-hmm. So do you have a recommendation, or is there a certain way that we should read these? Should we read yours last, first? Is there an order that you think makes sense here, or does it make no difference?
Okay, we're putting the pages in a format where we think is the best way to read it, and you're gonna feel going from one, like for example, my pages are a little darker, and so are Ben's pages. Mm-hmm. Not only from an actual artistic point of view, as far as the artwork is darker, just the feeling is a little darker as well. So we're going to cut them up and separate them, and we're going to like go dark light, kind of a format for people to kind of like get a different tone, and they could distinctly feel that there's a major change of how it's being drawn.
Okay.
Now everybody's going to get receive a copy of the digital form as well. What I would do personally, but this is the art part of me, I would have the digital form opened up on me while I'm looking at it, and open up the comic itself. And as I'm looking at the pages, look at the digital pages as well of the other artists, and compare page by page and see what they did with everything.
I see. Okay. Sounds
Like
good.
I would read it through, and then I would start the comparisons after that. And it's like, oh, this person did this with this. This was why what this person made this character, and an animal, not a human being.
Right.
Like there's, I would read it like that, but it's gonna read through pretty easy for everybody, and you'll be able to tell immediately once you're changing from one vision to another.
I'm going to hazard a guess to say no, Naman, because that's one of the giveaway, one of the things that you can buy if you're doing something like that. But I'll let CJ
That's part of the
answer that.
creators. That's part of the creators package that you'll see the script. The script is in every comic,
Right.
on the pages itself, but in the creators bundle, you'll actually get it written out the way he wrote it out. Like
Yeah.
in writer's form,
Right.
giving guidance to their artists.
Yeah. So Naman, I mean, the creator thing sounds like it's right up your alley. I don't know if you're one of the two people that picked up on it, but it sounds like that might be what you're
Norman
doing.
sponsored us. He's actually one of our sponsors.
He's one of the sponsors. Fantastic. Excellent. Excellent.
You're going to see a big picture of the worm on there inside
Oh
the
my
comic.
God. Maybe I'm not going to, no, that's okay. I'm just joking.
Maybe I'll redesign it to make him look like a wicked worm.
You guys are like, I don't know, Tweedledee and Tweedledum when you come and start attacking each other or talking to each other. I know you like each other though, but that's okay. Anyway, listen, CJ, this was really fantastic. I mean, I know you were on a lot of other shows. I mean, hopefully this was maybe a little bit different, and we got into some more detail about your work and how you approached it, and some other stuff that's there, because that's what I tried to do anyway. So
I think you definitely accomplished doing this a little differently than everybody else.
okay.
Definitely less attacking than some of the other people were.
Right.
But no, you have a different style, and we definitely got into stuff that other people haven't asked me. So that's the beauty of going from one show to the other, because the questions you're going to ask me and your thoughts towards the book are a little different than other people's, which is helpful to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm listening to your questions and the way you're thinking about the book, which I'm taking mental notes as well about, like, oh, he thought of it like this. So maybe I should keep that in mind next time I'm doing another project or that kind of a thing. And it helps me. And, you're one of our best. So I love being here.
Well, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on. I really, really, I hope that we can get together another time soon, But for some
when you come back to New York.
Yeah. Well, I will be back in New York at least for a bit, but soon I will be an ex-New Yorker, probably by the end of the year,
Finito.
Finito. That's right. Well, you know what? I think it's the right time for me. It's not always the right time, but it's the right time for me to, I'll be spending time between Cape Cod and here down in Naples, Florida.
Hey, I'm with you. In about a decade, I'd probably be joining you. Maybe not in Cape Cod, but maybe in Naples.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful place. I'll tell you right now.
Except
when the hurricanes come through.
I'll go to Greece when that happens.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Again, thanks a lot. Thanks for everybody that showed up. We had some great comments. Thanks to the chat and to the people who watch us on a replay. Really consider backing this project, the Shift project. It just is, it's unique. We showed some of the artwork. We've got the link is in the chat, and I'll make sure that it's in the description below if I didn't put it there already. Take a look at it, go through it, make your decision. At the very least, what was it? $5 for the
Digital.
digital version.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful, and you can do that. But pick up CJ's version for $10. I think it's pretty cool. You know.
I appreciate that.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. I think next week we're going to have a comic book crowd show. It's going to be pretty cool. So look for the announcement. Take care, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.